not connected.
CTO Assistance, Vicky speaking. How can I help you?
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our bilge pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
What'd you say? Hey.
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
All right, well, let's get you going. Membership number or phone number listed on the account, sir.
I don't know the phone number. It's either Jerry Atkerson. I think it's Jerry Atkerson. Try that.
All right.
I know we have a membership, like guaranteed. I don't
All
have
right,
the tag
unless
on
you
here.
have a
It got ripped
membership
off.
number or anything, it's okay. I'll get you over to the captain. What's the best phone number to reach you at?
Reach me at 2.
All right, and is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's
How
on
many?
board.
All right, do you need the United States Coast Guard?
What?
Do you need the United States Coast Guard?
No, we do not need that.
All right. All right, do you have your current GPS coordinates?
Let me go look.
If not, I can send you a text message.
North. Alright, are you ready?
Yes, sir, I'm available.
North 30 degrees by 4672.
All right, 4672. All right, and you were breaking up a little bit. Can you just repeat it one more time to make sure I have it correct?
Sorry, look.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, what?
So you're breaking up. If you need assistance, do you have a VHF radio?
No, we do not have the VHF radio.
All right, well, let's try to get you going because you don't have good cell phone reception. Can you verify your coordinates one more time?
Okay, my coordinates are 30 degrees by 14.684 north, and then west by 88 degrees by 46.79.
Right, looks like you're on Horn Island, correct? Are you
Yes,
on
we are
Horn
at Horn
Island?
Island. Yes.
All right, is the boat sinking or you have it aground?
We were sinking, yes.
Is it aground is the question?
No, we're not aground. We are in 17 foot of water. We're in 31 foot of water.
All right, have to ask. What do you want to do? Do you want to be towed back?
I want to get this boat unsank and towed back, yes.
All right, where would you like it towed to, sir?
You can tow it to Ocean Springs Harbor, or Fort Bayou Launch.
All right, how many adults and children on board?
No, there's no children.
So, is there anybody on board? How many adults, sir? That was the question. Hello, can you hear me?
Try to jump in and pull the plug, Bart, while you're going.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yep, I just need you to answer these questions so I can get you over to the captain.
Okay,
how many adults on board?
There are 0 adults on board.
There's nobody on board the boat?
No. Nobody here is over the age of 21.
Sir, that was not the question. Is there a person, a living individual on the boat?
Hello?
Is there a living person, someone breathing on the boat? Is there anybody on the boat?
Yes, there's lots of people breathing on the boat.
All right, how many people, sir?
like 7.
All right, thank you. Does everyone have life jackets on or available to them?
Yes, we have life jackets available.
All right. Verify what boat's sinking.
A Triton, 22-foot offshore, 22-foot Triton offshore sea flight hull.
All right. All right. Please hold. I'm transferring you to the local captain now.
Okay, thank you.
You've just heard the recording that's reignited one of the biggest debates in the Nolan Wells investigation. Not because of what the caller told the dispatcher, but because of the voices in the background. Some listeners believe those voices suggest Nolan was still on the boat after it left Horn Island. Others say the recording is too unclear to support that conclusion. Whether those voices mean what some listeners believe they do remains unverified, but the recording has reignited one of the biggest debates in the investigation. The public has been told that Nolan stayed behind on Horn Island while the group left early after their boat reportedly began taking on water. Friends who have spoken publicly have maintained that account, but now the complete clip of the emergency call has been released, and thousands of people are replaying over and over again, trying to make sense of a few seconds of background audio. Some believe they hear someone calling out, "Nolan." Others believe they hear another voice asking, "Is he dead?" Another phrase has been interpreted by some listeners as someone telling Wyatt to check his chest. Now, if Nolan wasn't on the boat, who were those voices referring to? It's a question that's impossible to answer based on the recording alone.
Hi, Captain Seth. This is Vicky from International. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Good, good. I apologize ahead of time. I really do. You're going to have a fee-for-service come up under Jerry.
Okay.
It sounds like a bunch of kids on board on Horn Island. He's letting me know that his father's a member, but he can't give me any information. And he's saying the boat is sinking, and he's on Horn Island. It's just unfortunate. He's just a kid. There's a lot going on. So
Right.
he said there's about a lot of people on board. He says he thinks about 7. I'm guessing they're all under 18.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be rude. He wants you guys to go out there and unpump the boat and then tow it in.
Do you know what kind of boat it is?
He said a Triton 24-footer, but that's all he can give me.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just actually got off the phone with his grandpa, who I'm guessing is the owner of the boat, and
Is it
he
Jerry?
said that Jerry. Yeah, he said.
Okay.
I just hung up with him. He said that they don't need any help right now, but if something changes, he'll call me back. So.
Oh, right.
I'm guessing that they may have figured it out, because that's what he said. So they're in a panic and their boat won't crank.
Yeah, they're in a panic. He's saying the bilge is not keeping up. I asked for Coast Guard. He said no, but he's just really upset on the back end. And, I get it. It's a kid. He just doesn't understand.
Oh, okay. Do you still have him on the line?
Yes, I still have him on the line. And, again, I couldn't find he couldn't give me anything regarding his grandfather's, membership, so it's just under Jerry fee-for-service.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just talked to. If you want to, we're so tied up right now. We can't really do any non-member jobs right now.
Is Jerry a member? Did you find out if he was a member or not?
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's his boat or what. I'm not sure what's going on with it. But yeah, transfer the kid over. I'll talk to him, and then I'll call his grandpa back as well.
All right. And did you want me to look up Jerry's membership number or anything like that to see if he's up? I know you guys are
You can
swamped.
try this cell phone number.
All right. Yep. Jerry. Yeah, he's an active member. Hold on.
What kind of boat do you have on there? Same boat?
Yeah, he's one of your members. Yep, 22-foot Triton. All right. I'll just disregard this one. I'm going to send you over an accurate one under this Jerry Ackerson one, okay? He's one of your members. You'll get in a couple minutes, okay?
Okay, perfect. All right. And, yeah, just transfer this kid over whenever you get a chance.
All right. Transferring now. Thank you again, Captain.
All righty.
Stay safe out there. It's crazy. Have a drink.
Oh, it's wild. All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Emergency calls often contain overlapping conversations, wind noise, engine noise, and poor phone reception. Without forensic analysis, identifying background voices is extremely difficult. But that's not why this recording has become so important. Its significance isn't that it proves anything. It's that it gives investigators another piece of evidence to compare against everything else they've collected. And that's where this case becomes much more interesting. Long before this recording began circulating publicly, there were already different accounts of Nolan's final hours on Horn Island. One of the most discussed came from the young woman Nolan was reportedly spending time with that afternoon. According to Katie's account through Ben Crump, Nolan left her company to meet his friends. She never claimed to know what happened after that. Her statement simply established that, at some point, the two were no longer together. The question has always been what happened next. Did Nolan remain on the island? Did he meet up with someone else? Those are the questions people are now revisiting after hearing the emergency call. Because if the background voices are eventually shown to include Nolan, and to be clear, investigators have not publicly reached that conclusion, it would naturally prompt investigators to compare that finding against witness statements, digital evidence, and every other part of the timeline. That brings us to two people whose public interviews have been closely examined since the beginning of this case: Tracetin Shepherd and Warren Hudson. Although they spoke publicly at different times, both have remained consistent on one central point. They've said Nolan stayed behind on Horn Island when their group headed back toward the mainland, after the boat reportedly began taking on water. According to Shepherd, Nolan had decided to remain on the island after meeting a young woman during the day's celebrations. He described their last interaction as casual before the group departed. Warren Hudson has shared a similar account, maintaining that Nolan did not return with them when the boat left. On that key point, both accounts align. If those accounts are accurate, then the emergency call changes very little. But if investigators were ever able to verify that Nolan was present during that call, the timeline would deserve another careful review. When those public accounts are viewed alongside the newly circulating emergency call, investigators have another timeline to evaluate. It doesn't automatically mean anyone was dishonest. It doesn't prove the public timeline is wrong. And it certainly doesn't tell us what happened to Nolan. What it does mean is that investigators would have another factual question to answer. Did the evidence support the timeline already in place? Or did it point somewhere else? If the emergency call has become the most debated piece of audio in this case, the GPS records may be the most objective piece of evidence investigators have publicly referenced. Unlike witness memories, GPS records don't rely on recollection. They show where the boat traveled and when. While they can't identify who was on board, they can show whether the boat's movements align with the timeline described afterward. According to investigative records, authorities downloaded navigation data from the Garmin units installed on the boats involved. That information was later used to reconstruct the vessel's movements throughout the day. The boats leave for Horn Island that morning, before remaining in the same general area for several hours, consistent with the 4th of July gathering that drew hundreds of boats and thousands of people to the island. Then the timeline changes. The GPS shows the boat leaving the western side of Horn Island and traveling at a noticeably slower speed for several miles, before eventually resuming normal speed. Standing alone, that might not seem significant. Placed alongside the emergency call, however, it paints a more complete picture. The slower speed is consistent with the reported mechanical problems described during the call. In other words, the GPS and the emergency call appear to support the same sequence of events regarding the boat's condition. According to investigative records, the vessel arrives at a residence before leaving again a short time later and traveling toward Fort Bayou. It later returns to the residence before making another trip that eventually ends at the Fort Bayou boat launch. Those movements have generated their own discussion online. Some people believe they're simply the normal movements of a boat after experiencing mechanical trouble. Others have questioned why multiple trips were made after returning from Horn Island. At this stage, the GPS data answers one question while leaving another unanswered. It shows where the boat traveled. It does not explain why each stop was made. That's where investigators have to rely on additional evidence. Phone records, witness interviews, photographs, videos, anything capable of placing people in a specific location at a specific time. This is where many public conversations about the Nolan Wells case begin to drift away from how investigations actually work. Online discussions often focus on deciding which witness to believe. Investigators start somewhere else. They ask whether each statement can be independently supported. If someone says the boat left at a certain time, investigators compare that statement with GPS records. If someone says they remained on the island, investigators compare that with phone data, photographs, videos, and other available evidence. If an emergency call contains voices in the background, investigators don't decide what they hear based on social media clips. They determine whether those voices can be enhanced, identified, and matched to the rest of the evidence. Which brings us back to the question that's driving so much of the current discussion. Does the emergency call fit the timeline investigators have already developed? Or does it raise new questions that require a closer look? Right now, there's no public indication that investigators have concluded the recording changes the timeline. At the same time, the renewed public interest shows just how much attention those background voices have attracted. Every new piece of evidence is being examined from every possible angle. As much as this investigation has played out in public, the public still doesn't have access to everything investigators have. The audience has heard interviews. They've seen portions of investigative documents. They've watched body camera footage and social media videos. Now they've heard the emergency call. But investigators also have evidence the public hasn't seen or heard. That includes forensic examinations, digital evidence, witness interviews conducted outside the public eye, and other investigative materials that haven't been released. That's why it's important to avoid treating any single piece of evidence as the final answer. Every piece has to be weighed against the rest. That brings us back to the question people continue asking after hearing the emergency call. If some listeners believe Nolan's name can be heard in the background, what happens next? The answer is straightforward. Investigators don't rely on internet interpretations. If they believe the recording has evidentiary value beyond what's already known, it can be examined using forensic audio analysis. Specialists can attempt to isolate voices, reduce background noise, and compare what they hear with the rest of the investigative record. Whether that has happened in this case hasn't been publicly confirmed. Each piece is measured against the others until investigators can determine which conclusions are supported by the evidence. That's why it's important not to treat this recording as the finish line. At the same time, the friends who have spoken publicly have continued to stand by their accounts of what happened that day. They've consistently maintained that Nolan remained on Horn Island after their boat left because of the reported mechanical problems, while the girl has also maintained her stance of Nolan leaving to meet his friends. Those positions are not mutually exclusive. A family can continue asking difficult questions. Witnesses can continue standing by their statements. And investigators can continue testing both against the evidence. That's how complex investigations move forward. Whatever this recording ultimately means, it has already done one thing. It has renewed attention on a case that still has unanswered questions. It has reminded people that this case is still evolving, that important questions remain unanswered. A young man lost his life. His family is still searching for complete answers. And investigators are still responsible for determining exactly what happened. We'll continue following this case closely and separating verified developments from online speculation as new information becomes available. If you value careful, evidence-based reporting that focuses on facts instead of rumors, consider subscribing and turning on notifications. As this investigation continues, we'll bring you the latest developments and explain what they mean in the context of the evidence, not the noise.